开会最麻烦的就是跟不同国家的人谈事情，大家各说各的，没有交集，整个焦点非常模糊。那这样的会议不管开多久都没有个很明显的行动出现，或者在会后还得透过大量的 email 来沟通。那对于希望时间管理更有效率的你，今天的单元就是来教你该如何开出更有效率的会议，来避免这种各说各话的情况。Hello， 欢迎来到商业英语 Career Plus 的 Podcast。在这边，我们利用多年国际职场与教学经验，带给大家最真实与贴切的职场英语知识。Hi, I'm Sherry, founder of Executive Plus. As a language trainer and certified coach, I've trained hundreds of managers from Fortune 500 companies such as Dior, Google, and Deloitte & Touche.
And I'm Nick, Director of Communication Strategy at Presentality.I've helped startups raise millions of US dollars in funding and trained executives of publicly listed companies to present on the global stage. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 22 of the Career Plus podcast. Now, today we want to talk about how to keep your meetings, especially conference call meetings, on schedule.We've all had that experience where you show up to a meeting and everyone's kind of talking about what they want to talk about and you're not really getting to the point that you intended. And everyone leaves the meeting feeling like it was a waste of time. They didn't actually get to say what they wanted to do, and you end up having subsequent meetings.That's
right. So 我们在上一个单元，也就是单元21集的时候，我们讲到了嘛，就是我们希望能够教大家要怎么样去避免这种气氛很冷冰冰的那种感觉。那另外一个非常多的客户常会反映，就是当他们开始要跟不同国家的 team 合作的时候，那他们可能之间还没有一个共识，或者是他们之前都一直是用 email 在做沟通，所以第一次开会通常都会有个状况，就是他们所想讲的重点跟你所想讲的重点是不一样的，所以有的时候就会发生人家在讲话的时候你可能不是很注意在听，你可能在想你自己要讲的，当你在讲话的时候人家也可能 vice versa same thing， 所以变成在 ending the meeting 的时候你反而没有一个真的是很有一个 action steps， 或者你可能这个 meeting 就是1个小时2个小时过了还是没有非常没有什么效率，没有一个 results. So today we just wanted to show you guys 我们该怎么样在这种开会啊或者是视讯会议的时候我们来防止这种状况发生。所以我们有比如说在会前会议刚开始会中跟最后会议的做总结的时候，我们都有一些小小的技巧想要教给大家。
And as you said, Sherry, it actually begins before the meeting. This is not something that you do mid-meeting or you try and control it because a lot of times it's too late. So the easiest way to start, and a lot of larger companies tend to do this, especially I found Japanese companies love to do this, is send out a pre-meeting agenda with the talking points and with the idea that someone can add, subtract, or adjust things to make sure that the meeting hits all the points everyone's looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And also at the same time, when you do a pre-meeting agenda, so basically just send out an email, maybe a couple days before the meeting, right? So it kind of also eliminate the possibility of any kind of misunderstanding beforehand, right? 你就会减少一些有可能出现的误会。比如说这个时候你就可以请大家看一下，我们这个是我们等一下要讲的 meeting agenda， 你们先看一下，那如果有什么样的疑问你先提出来，或者有什么想加的我们先 just let me know first， 因为这样子我们真的可以去减少很多因为语言上不通或者是一种就是 general misunderstanding 一些情况会发生。
So within the email, it doesn't need to be that complicated. It can just simply have a list of all your action points and a quick note. Your quick note can be just something very simple like, hey everyone, here's the meeting agenda for the meeting on Monday. Please feel free to look through all the key points and let me know if anything is missing. Hopefully, we can have an effective and efficient meeting and resolve all our issues.
Yeah, it's really quick, very simple, and just bullet point. Bullet point all the meeting agenda. And, if there's anything that you want to address to someone's, just point that out. So the email can be just very simple, just like that.
Right. You're just making sure that everyone's on the same page going into the meeting. Now, when we get into the meeting, how should someone begin, or how should someone really get it rolling and keep to the agenda?
A lot of people feel like, well, since we're having this meeting, everyone knows who I am, right? But the thing is, a proper introduction is still so important. A lot of times when you're communicating with them through emails, they don't know what you sound like. So they may not even know who's talking, right?
Right. Especially because this is not an internal meeting. If you're having a conference call with your client, not everyone in that room may know who you are, unless you've been working with them for 10, 20 years. But they even may have, new team members. So doing a quick introduction, it's not your resume, but who you are, which department you're with, and, what your goal is for this meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. 所以就是做一个非常简单的自我介绍。Of course, after that, you would also want to ask the other side, or people from the other side, your client or your team, to introduce themselves as well. For example, you can say that, okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Sherry from Executive Plus, and I have Nick here with me from Presentality. Could the other side introduce yourselves? So that's it. Really simple, 2 sentences and done.
Right. And once you've gone through all the formal introductions, is just quickly recap the meeting agenda. This doesn't mean go into details. This doesn't mean start the meeting itself. It's just something like, in today's meeting, we are going over A, B, and C. Or we will cover A, B, and C.
Yeah. Again, very quick, 1 sentence, done. 这个时候我们不要想说，文法啊、生字啊用多的多难。其实不用，完全你就是非常清楚简单，就是我们今天要讲的是 A, B, C， 好，这样就好了。那还有最后再来就是一个也蛮重要的，就是当你会议，比如说你有非常多的人参加，或者你有比较多的 team， 他们要来参加这个会议，那你可能要讲的 A, B, C。So for example， 我们的 A 跟 B 需要所有的人参与，但是我们的 C 就不需要了，可能就是只单独跟一个 team谈这件事情就好了。So we can actually kind of let the people know they don't have to stay for the entire meeting, right?
Right. I mean, one of the most brutal things to deal with is when you're in a meeting that half of it has nothing to do with you, and you're either A, waiting around for your part, or B, you feel you're done, and then you're just staying in the meeting. So one of the things that you can do as a meeting organizer is arrange your agenda so that you can either let people go, or the people who need to speak, call them out in the beginning and just say, at the very beginning of this, we're going to talk a bit about finances. Now, Tim and Sarah are going to present the report that they've put together. However, our second half of our meeting is about marketing. So anyone here just for the finance report, you can go at that time.
Absolutely. 所以就是非常简单，就是很清楚跟大家说，什么时候我需要你们的 full attention. I need your full attention for A and B. But as for marketing, feel free to leave and go on with your day. And I just need to talk to certain team at that point. Yeah.
So we've sent out a pre-meeting agenda.
Yep.
We have started off, we've recapped, made sure everyone's on the meeting. But things are going off a little bit, or you're not entirely sure people are clear. What can we do in the middle of the meeting to smooth things out or to get everyone back on the same page?
So this is kind of similar to what we talked about last episode when we're talking about how to have a very engaging meeting, is that you do have to check if people are on the same page, or just kind of like check if there's anything in terms of clarification or is there any like misunderstanding. So simple sentences such as, oh, I don't think I got all of that. Would you mind repeating? Again, if the other side is talking about something that they're kind of keep going, or maybe it's the accent, 有的时候他们口音比较重，或者他们讲太快，这个时候你马上就可以切进去，你就说 Oh, I don't think I got all of that. Would you mind repeating?
And just asking for that clarification or asking for a repeat is not a big deal. Now, if you do it over and over again, you may consider a different way of phrasing or asking them to summarize in a different way. But just saying, could you repeat or do you mind repeating is not such a big problem. The other thing you can do is sometimes people will jump over points and not go into detail because they assume everybody knows. Like everyone understands this project. Like, oh, I don't need to talk much about project C. Everyone knows the details of that. But if you really do want them to get into it and you're like, well, hold on. You might just use a phrase like, could you elaborate on the last thing you talk about? Or could you give more detail on the last thing that you talk about? And really encourage someone to go more in depth instead of just assuming, and this is what causes a lot of misunderstanding, assuming everyone in the room knows what's going on.
所以真的不要去假设说大家都知道你在讲什么，或者你也不用去假设说我一定要知道对方在讲什么。Again, just ask them, could you elaborate or could you provide more details on the last thing you talked about? Again, 这样子就会防止很多 future misunderstanding. And if you're the one that is presenting or if you're the one who's talking for a very long time and it's like dead silence on the other side, you can also say, I just want to check if we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and maybe do a quick summary or ask someone if they have any questions or create a moment for discussion. Otherwise, yeah, we all have, especially conference call. Sometimes you do a video call, but a lot of times when too many people are in the room, you'll just do a traditional conference call. You can't see them, so you don't know if they're asleep, on their phone, if the connection went dead when it's really quiet. So just every, I don't know, at least 5 minutes or so, if you're not hearing a lot of interaction, take a break, stop, and just ask that question. Like, I want to check, is everyone on the same page? Are there any questions? Is there anything I can cover again?
Yeah. All right. We have the pre-meeting email. We got the introduction. We have the middle, asking for clarification. Now it comes to the end of the meeting. Since it's the end of the meeting, should we just kind of like say, hey, all right, that's it, bye? Or we don't care anymore, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just hoping for someone to say, okay, bye, that's all. Or you end up in that real awkward moment where everyone's like, is it over? Is there anything else? So as a meeting host, or even if you're someone somewhat responsible for the meeting or trying to make sure the meeting is going smoothly, is the end of the meeting is about action points. So really wrapping up and just action planning what's going forward, or importantly also summarize certain key decisions or key ideas. If you've been taking notes or you have someone taking meeting minutes, having them go back and go, okay, in today's meeting, we covered A, B, C. And here are the major decisions we made, or here are the key things that we need to continue having a discussion about. So laying out the summary of the meeting and then getting into the action planning. What are the deadlines? So it's like, hey, everyone, we made decision A, and that's going to be due at the end of the month. Or we decided that we need to keep talking about topic C, so we will do that on November 15th. The last thing that you also want to do is, again, this is about making people feel they were part of the meeting, is assigning tasks. If you're just like, all right, so someone sent out an email and schedule the next meeting, you're always going to run into the troubles. Either you're going to have, maybe if you're lucky, you have a really ambitious person who's like, let's do it. Yeah, I'll schedule the meeting. But otherwise is you can just call it out. Be like, hey, Sherry, do you mind sending an email to everyone with the next scheduled meeting for topic D?
Right. Yeah, 所以 again, 在我们 meeting 的最后面的时候，做一个很简单的总结，然后呢，去 highlight 我们今天做了这个 meeting， 我们做了哪一些决策，那这些决策 lead 到什么样的 action， 怎么样的 deadlines， 我们的比如说我们有什么时限啊，什么时候一定要完成，或者是谁必须要做这些actions, actual executing the actions。那为什么我们要做这个部分？也就是当然你如果在之后你还要再开会 or email exchange, again, you can make sure that your future meetings will be very efficient and effective if you have a very effective meeting ending, right?
Right. So again, it's back to that summary, that action point, and assigning tasks so that people walk away and go, oh, we actually did something today.
Yeah.
Or we did cover the topics that were discussed.
So a very clear takeaway from the meeting.
Right. And that's what we all look for. Other than, getting out of meetings as soon as possible, we do want to feel that that meeting was worth the time, or that you walk away with some kind of either conclusion, action point, or clear path towards the next meeting.
所以我希望大家今天都学到了很多。那如果你想要了解更多，比如说在开会或者是实体会议 even 或者是你可能在做平常职场沟通上有什么另外的一些技巧的话，欢迎来到我们在好好的远端工作必备跨国英语康考实战力的课程。那在这个 podcast 的 description box 里面，我们也会有一个 link， 那你直接点那个 link， 你就可以到我们那个 page。那你会发现我们有一些单元也是做免费的，所以也欢迎大家到那边免费的观赏我们一些单元。So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode today, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
如果你喜欢我们的 podcast， 欢迎来追踪我们的主管英文 Executive Plus 的 Facebook。那也可以写信到我们的信箱 yourcareerplus@gmail.com。